The next morning, Luna wakes up with some serious bedhead, and she points out that her two new friends have taught her so much. Rudd explains that when he and Manisha were younger and living in the slums, there was an effort by the nobles to return abandoned kids like them to a proper life. They were able to attend night school because of it. But Manisha doesn't have fond memories of school. Rudd was always an exceptional student, so everyone expected him to become a knight. However, students would gossip about how Manisha was holding him back. Rudd became an adventurer to cure her disease, but everyone felt bad for Rudd for not being able to just do what he wanted. Luna senses that something is wrong with Manisha, but she doesn't know how to act like a human and can't console her properly. Manisha asks her for advice since she doesn't know what to do about Rudd throwing his life away for her. Luna has no clue how to answer and explains that she actually has a real problem since she doesn't have anyone in her life that would do that for her. Luna suggests that she just talk to Rudd, but Manisha doesn't even know how to interact with him. She doesn't think it's right to rely on him so much, so she keeps as much distance between them as possible. Luna suggests that she just tell him everything, but Manisha freaks out as Rudd has returned home. Luna assures her that it will be fine, but Manisha loses her nerve as soon as she tells Rudd that she wants to talk to him. She fears that, deep down, Rudd might regret saving her, but Luna assures her again. Manisha just comes right out and asks Rudd why he saved her, and she is shocked when he reveals that it was because she saved him once. Rudd explains that the kids always used to be terrified of him because he was so much bigger than them. Manisha was different, and she treated him like he wasn't a giant freak. Rudd explains that he is happiest when he is around Manisha, and she breaks down in tears. Manisha apologizes for doubting him, and the two thank Luna for her part in solving their family problems. Luna doesn't know how to handle praise, so she runs off to start cooking. Just then, Rudd is annoyed that someone would dare interrupt this blissful moment as they hear a knock on the door. It's surprisingly Nin, and she reveals that she isn't part of the hero party anymore. After Rudd left, they kept failing to clear dungeons, so the party disbanded. A look at one of their battles shows that their party was a complete mess.
お前ら戦闘態勢を整えろ。エリア、さっきからなんだそのざま、ちゃんとやれ。
Kigless couldn't figure out why they had become so weak, and he realized that the only difference was that they didn't have Rudd anymore. Kigless realized that his special attacks cost way more of his absorbed shield than they did before. On top of that, his skills have gotten much weaker, and his shields have been depleting faster. After Rudd left, Kigless refused to believe that he was wrong for kicking Rudd out and forced everyone to continue fighting in the dungeon. They were taking too long to defeat monsters, causing new ones to spawn at the same time, so the others didn't want to continue fighting. Kigless refused to give up, but his abilities eventually stopped activating. Kigless finally felt what it was like to lose his entire shield from an attack. And it hurt way more than he thought it would. Terrified out of his mind, Kigless ran from a monster, but without his shield, this monster broke several bones in his body with a single attack. Kigless practically wet himself in the face of death, but his party managed to get him out of danger. His reputation was tarnished, however, and he blamed their new evasion tanks for their failure. The twins stick up for them and point out that Kigless was just recklessly rushing in. These girls are ruthless, as they point out that he hasn't trained in a while, and his body has become scrawny and unhealthy from drinking all the time. Nin piles on as well since she just noticed that Kigless just realized how his ability actually works. His life burst attack enhances his physical abilities at the cost of a major chunk of his absorbed shield. The timer lost his entire shield came right after Kigless unleashed the biggest life burst he had ever cast. Nin determined that Rudd's skill must have allowed him to treat other shields as his own. So Kigless was actually just pushing the cost of his attack onto Rudd. Rudd's shield value was 9,999, which is why Kigless seems so strong. Kigless refuses to believe any of it, as he calls himself the hero. But everyone just leaves this nerd. Nin now apologizes since she didn't know that Rudd was taking the damage that her shields were taking. Rudd apologizes for not figuring out his own skills sooner, but he is shocked to see how fast Nin is ready to move on. Nin introduces herself to the others, but stuns our boy when she reveals that she will be staying for a while. Nin thinks he doesn't want her there, but he just explains that all the inns are full. Manisha offers to let her stay there, but Rudd explains that Nin is the daughter of a duke. She is a noble saint, but Nin explains that she would love to stay there. Rudd lets her stay in his room while he sleeps downstairs, but Nin has other ideas.
でも、あんたらしい部屋って感じで落ち着く。
俺はリビングで寝るから。じゃ。
別に、ルードなら一緒でもいいのに。
演技はやめろ！
あれ？わかっちゃった？
Rudd declines and Phil arrives at the front door in a panic. She reveals that a monster she has never seen before has appeared in the orchard and begs him to come help. They arrive to find the beast, but they can't tell what it is because of the miasma surrounding it. Nin purges the miasma.
さすがだな、兄。
まあ、このくらいは。
この魔物。今まで出会ったモンスターとは生物としての構造自体が違うように感じる。まるで魔素に自我を支配されてしまったような。
And it reveals that this creature is unlike anything Rudd has ever encountered. It's as if its magic essence has taken over its sense of self. Just then, Phil's dad arrives to attack the beast, but he fails. The monster tries to end all their lives, but Rudd quickly uses his provoking ability to take the damage. He instructs the others to cast healing spells on him, and Rudd does his best to fend off the monster. Wright is drawing all of its damage, so he tells the soldiers to attack. The monster just throws them around, but Rudd takes all the damage for them. Nin and Luna heal him up, so he praises them and tells the soldiers not to hold back. He explains to them that his shield of sacrifice skill lets him take the damage dealt to their absorbed shields, so they are shocked that they can just charge in without worrying about taking damage. It's the ultimate tank ability, so they all attack confidently. The monster has no choice but to run, but Rudd tells the others to stop it as it's heading towards the town. Luna summons a wall to stop it, and Rudd decides it is time to end the fight. He pours the 20,000 points of damage he has taken so far into one attack and unleashes an insanely powerful blast.
この一撃に込める！生命変換！
Rudd's attack causes way more damage than the monster, and he wonders if he went a bit overboard. Everyone still praises him, however, as they manage to avoid any casualties. Strangely, this was an C-rank wolf, but it had the power of an A-rank. All monsters capable of using magic have magic stones, but this beast oddly had 2 of them. These stones are similar to the ones used to make homunculi, and they see a scar on the beast. It looks like someone forced the stones into it and stitched the wound shut. Someone is creating monster homunculi, but using homunculi for battle is prohibited. That doesn't seem to be stopping this mystery person, and Rudd fears that this may be a scary sign of what's to come. The next day, Rudd reads that labyrinths have been popping up everywhere, and one has even appeared in Advancer. Manisha points out that Rudd must know how Nin feels about him, and wonders if he pretends not to notice because of her illness. Rudd explains that he doesn't want a relationship because it would distract him from raiding labyrinths. Manisha trusts her brother's decision and just hopes that he doesn't stop caring about her. Later, Phil gathers everyone to take down a chameleon. They are only found in regions far south of them, so they must investigate why they have appeared near their town. A labyrinth has appeared somewhere there as well, so if they spot it, they're supposed to tell her. Nin's then amazed to see the sword that the blacksmith made for Rudd. Rudd explains that it has an enchantment skill. This means that different elements can be used to change the magic stone's mana and the sword's enchantment. Rudd can use the magic of all elements, but not well enough to be useful for attacks. However, if he channels it into the stone, he can turn his sword into a fire type. Just then, some scar-faced jerk points out that Rudd is an F rank. This guy thinks that the amazing sword is being wasted on someone like him, but Rudd points out that this guy is only a C rank. The guy keeps talking crazy, so Luna gets really upset. Rudd calms her down and explains that he would rather be underestimated than overestimated. Then he points out that everyone underrates Rudd because he won't update his rank. He is actually strong enough to be a saint, like her to name him a knight, and she reveals to everyone that he actually turned down the offer. The scarred-up jerk is a fan now and wonders why Rudd doesn't update his rank. Rudd explains that if he does that, then the guild will start summoning him. Just then, the chameleon Kong comes out of nowhere. Phil Mediate immediately stops his attack, and she even manages to push it back. Rudd uses Provoke to take the damage as always, and the giant gorilla thrashes on his shield. Every attack is extremely heavy, but Rudd is glad that the others are managing to attack it without getting harmed. Everyone attacks with great enthusiasm, but something doesn't feel right to Rudd. This thing is making a lot of noise and making huge movements to get attention, almost as if it were a tank. Things soon become clear as the monster roars and more of them appear. One of them takes out a poor soldier, so Rudd tells everyone to stay back. They are all stunned, since these are just dumb monsters, but somehow they planned a diversion. Phil begins to panic as they are surrounded, but Rudd reminds her that she's the leader of the soldiers. He reminds her to lead and uses his provoke skill again. Scarface worries about his new hero, since taking on all three will be too much, but Rudd is confident these monsters can't defeat him. Luna lands some serious damage on one, and the trio of jerks finish it off. Rudd knows that chameleon Kongs are weak to fire, so he ignites his sword. A fire attack is super effective, so Phil's able to finish this one off. The last monkey unleashes a barrage of punches on our boy, so the girls use magic to trap it. Another attack slices it up, and Rudd lands the final blow. Everyone celebrates, but they acknowledge that they wouldn't have been able to do it without Rudd. Scarface calls Rudd a monster for not being scared of the gorillas and apologizes for what he said earlier. Rudd tells this guy to go kick rocks, but he is shocked when the gorilla bodies die just like they do in the labyrinths. This is pretty strange, but Phil finds the entrance to a labyrinth, and our boy Rudd couldn't be happier. That night, everyone celebrates the appearance of the labyrinth by Avancia since it will help revitalize their little town. Some guy tries to get slick with Manisha, but Rudd goes to have a little talk with him. Luna points out to Nin that Rudd doesn't seem too happy, and she explains that he must be worried about the labyrinth. This is because if the labyrinth monsters aren't defeated, they sometimes leave the labyrinth like the Kongs did. Finding people to defeat the monsters is the common solution, but that comes with its own set of problems. Anyone can become an adventurer, even the worst kinds of people. Bringing them to town could cause all sorts of problems. The answer to this is clans, where members are held accountable for their actions. Advancer doesn't have any clans, so Rudd worries about what might happen to Manisha if adventurers were to come there. His concern is interrupted, however, by the very not-sober Phil. Sometime later, Rudd breaks up a fight, and we learn that it's been a week since the labyrinth appeared. A ton of adventurers have shown up, and Rudd has become quite popular. After helping the townspeople with several requests nearby, another fight is about to break out between two high-ranking adventurers. Rudd arrives to stop them, but they insist on defending the honor of the respective clans. Rudd warns them to stop, so the guys wonder which of their clans should be allowed into the town. Rudd explains that the town doesn't need guys like them, but some kids decide to stick up for one of them. Rudd stops this kid and then tells these guys to back off since you won't take it easy on them the way Rudd did. Rudd explains that their town has its own rules, and if they insist on fighting, then they will have to answer to him. The guys decide to apologize and beg Rudd to join their clans. Rudd is glad to see that they were able to calm down and points out how clan adventurers really are different from individual adventures. Things might not be so bad, but it's clear that he won't be able to leave town for a while. Afterwards, Rudd goes to meet with Mr. Build. Mr. Build spoke with the Lord and was presented with two options. The first is for Rudd to create a clan and become its leader. Rudd thinks this is very sudden, but Mr. Build points out that it really isn't, since people have been singing his praises for a while. Rudd is honored, but he explains that his only goal right now is to secure Manisha's health. The townspeople don't want to bring in an outsider, and they insist that Rudd be the leader. Rudd wouldn't mind at all, but he is determined to cure his sister's illness. Mr. Build then explains that the second option is to destroy Avancia's labyrinth. Rudd is against this since it would hurt the town's development, but the higher-ups can't allow an improperly managed labyrinth to remain open. If Rudd refuses to form a clan, then he must join the party currently exploring the labyrinth and destroy it. Rudd is given some time to decide, and he encounters another fight. These guys refuse to listen to a lone adventurer, and Rudd wonders if forming a clan is the only way to calm things down in the town. Just then, Luna arrives, pleading for Rudd to return home. As there is something wrong with Manisha, Rudd finds that she is feeling as bad as usual, so he tells her to get some rest. Rudd realizes that if he forms a clan, he won't be able to travel to visit various labyrinths. He might never find the wish-granting treasure and won't be able to cure Manisha. Rudd makes his decision and tells the other girls that he will destroy the labyrinth. He wants their help, but Nin points out how it will hurt the town's development. Rudd is sure that's what he wants to do, as he will choose Manisha over the town every time. Luna presents another option and explains that he can just choose someone to lead the clan in his place whenever he wants to travel. Rudd doesn't want to force that responsibility on anyone, but Luna offers to do it since it means she will be protecting the town. She wants to help Rod the way he helped her and then tells him to stop ignoring what he wants. Nin then offers to help Luna and explains that she wants to help Rod since he is always protecting her. Manisha then shows up and tells her brother that she isn't the same person who always needs to be protected. She wants him to do what he thinks is best and says that she is fine. Rod can obviously tell that she is not fine and declares that he will protect Manisha and the town. I appreciate you viewing my anime recap, Unruly Family. Please let me know what you think about the third part of the Strongest Tanks Labyrinth raids by liking, sharing, subscribing, and leaving a comment.